It is the last day of GenCon 2022, and as much fun as we're having down here, we want to take a break from the showroom floor. Luckily, the co-founder of Steamforged Games, Matt Hart, has set up camp in a nearby conference room and invited us to give us the scoop on a whole bunch of new upcoming projects from Steamforged Games. My mission? To get some exclusive scoops about our favorite series, Epic Encounters. Come along with me to see if I can complete my mission, and as we walk, let me remind you about another fantastic series, the Big Bads by our sponsor, Hit Point Press. Each Big Bad gives you a new, unique Big Baddie to throw at your gaming group. Use the included adventure hooks to tie them into your existing campaign, or just use them for one-shots. Each Big Bad comes with a PDF full of boss details like backstory, personality, stats, tactics, and more, as well as printable reference materials for the boss, their allies, and their items. You can check out the store to find just the Big Bad that suits your needs and playstyle, or you can pick up 6 Big Bads for the cost of 5 with their Big Bad bundles, and how can you beat that? Check out the Big Bads at hitpointpress.com/big-bads, or use our link in the doohickey down below. We are taking a break from the main exhibition hall right now to get in a nice air-conditioned, lovely little conference room to talk to Matt Hart, who is the co-founder and the chief creative officer, the CCO of Steamforged Games, and we have a lot of fun things in front of us here. How is your conference going so far?
It's going fantastic. It's great to be back. We didn't get to come out last year, and so we have missed GenCon dearly. It's sad that I haven't hit the show floor as much as I would have liked. I've been meeting lovely people like yourselves. But yeah, getting to talk about all the games we've got coming out is really exciting.
Yeah, you told me something before we got started here that kind of like surprised me that this GenCon is still like a third of the size of what it used to be in the past.
It definitely feels quieter. So normally Saturday is absolute carnage, and yesterday it was just crazy. So it's 2 steps below where it could go.
I'm glad I'm kind of gearing myself up for the real thing. We started with PaizoCon, which is really small, and GaryCon, and now we're here. And you have a lot going on at Steamforged Games. You want to tell us a little bit about your presence here and kind of what you've been focusing on?
So we have, as you say, a lot of things coming out. So super exciting things that have happened at GenCon. Bardsung, people are going crazy for that. We've been running events in the event space to take kind of groups of people through that game. As you know, it's a massive box. I do think someone said it's the largest box product that's currently at the show in terms of pure weight and volume, which, I'll take that. But it's flying off the shelves, which is really cool. I'm not sure people were particularly enjoying carrying 7 kilograms of minis around. There are a lot of minis inside that box.
I carried it home from GaryCon too. And we could talk about the production values because they may have been recognized recently.
We won an award for our production values. Thank you. Yeah, so we won an Emmy, which is super exciting. It was lovely to know that people were appreciating the effort that all of the team put into the experience that we give. We try to give people as they open the box and play the game. So yeah, so Bardsung's really exciting. It does segue quite nicely into Epic Encounters because, as you know, we did a Kickstarter recently where we had a crossover. So the Bardsung universe touching the Epic Encounters universe in the form of local legends. So we don't have anything other than previews of that at the show because that's, of course, coming out next year. Other things at the show that have been really hot are Horizon, the board game. In fact, we've sold through all of the core sets and a whole pile of the expansions, so that's really exciting as well. And again, those tables in our event space have just been constantly full. My voice is slightly hoarse because every time I go near the event space, I end up doing a demo for a group of people for a game. I did one for Godtear yesterday, which is, of course, another product that we've really got a strong response at Adepticon, and that's just carried on throughout all the shows we've done since, and GenCon is no different. Godtear, as you know, is a small format miniatures war game that looks and plays a bit like a board game, but still has that real crunchy heft to it in terms of the depth of the gameplay. We're up to 24 champions with their followers now. All of the minis, and this is something you and I have chatted about off camera, are absolutely the right scale for you to maybe use for your D&D games as well. But Godtear in and of itself is a fantastic game.
And what sort of creatures? We have one little box up here. We got some dragons. Looking at the back of the box, there's undead. There's like earth elemental type creatures. There's like liches. Like what sort of creatures might players who from D&D find that they might find useful on their games to double dip a little bit?
I am glad you asked that. So it's Godtear is its own world, but it is very, very much a love letter from me to core classic fantasy. So everything that you would expect to see in a classic fantasy will be represented in Godtear. So yeah, as you can see up here, this was potentially you might be able to guess the TV show that I was watching, where we were kind of thinking about ideas of a beautiful, strong young woman with 2 baby dragons. But I had a chat with a guy yesterday on the booth, and he was telling me that he had actually picked up that box with our Red Dragon Epic Encounters box set and ran it as an adult dragon with 2 wormlings, which I thought was a fantastic idea. So, yeah, anything that you think you would see in a core fantasy product, you would see in Godtear.
Excellent. And I want to talk about local legends because we just had the end of the Kickstarter. We had a video kind of previewing one of the taverns in there. And so I want you to tell us a little bit about what is the release strategy and the plan for local legends going forward.
So Local Legends gives us the opportunity to do what we do with the Epic Encounters boss boxes. So helping people take their game to 11, but not every boss that you encounter in D&D or fantasy role-playing game is a massive creature. You know, a good example is a Night Hag. It's still a good challenging fight. It's still, it could be a climactic ending to a cool adventure, but a much more, much smaller footprint style creature. So therefore, a much smaller footprint style mini. So Local Legends gives us the ability to give you a cool boss fight for a smaller format miniature in a smaller package. So a lot more accessible for people.
Yeah, especially these days when minis are getting really expensive and prices are going up across the board. So being able to get like a full encounter with minis for presumably a lower price point, I think would be really welcome.
Yep, absolutely. As you say, the world is changing, and everything is getting a little bit tighter and a little bit more difficult to do, and that does mean the costs are going up. So it is really important to make sure that as gamers, we are getting value for money. We are getting good quality content for every dollar that we spend. And so, yeah, making things a little bit more accessible in terms of accessibility from price point of view, absolutely, but still keeping the same amount of content and gameplay in every box.
And I know there might be 1 or 2 people at home now afraid that, the regular big Epic Encounter boxes might be coming to an end, but that's not the case, right?
No. We there are way too many warbands that we still have on our backlog, and absolutely, I like big minis. So, I mean, I didn't with my business partner. I didn't start a toy company to not have lots of toys. So
what are the ones we have recently? The Ghoulkin, and we have it's not a carrion crawler, it's a corpse. I'm forgetting the name of what do you call it?
It's a legally distinct corpse crawler.
Not quite carrion crawler, but what are the boxes after that we have to look forward to?
Oh, that is a sneaky question. So I know that I have been looking at Knolls coming across my desk.
No.
I know that I am in the very early stages of looking at maybe some more sort of like a drow or dro, depending on how you want to pronounce it. So those are a couple of sneaky little previews of what we're currently working on. So I'll probably get in an awful amount of trouble with my brand guys now. We
did have 1 or 2 comments in one of our last videos like, I really wish we'd had like a drow box.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
people are going to be happy.
They may know that, I don't know if you know, but some of our audience may know that gnolls are my favorite enemy. And so I'm very curious to see how y'all handle gnolls, if that's something that it does indeed come down the pike and make them interesting.
Yeah, I do think the next box sets that's going to come out, have you heard about the Manticore?
I don't think we've heard about the Manticore.
Oh, well, now you have. That's as far as I'll go.
Interesting, because I know that the very next set is more of an underwater theme, which sounds very interesting. And do you know when those boxes are expected to land on our shores?
The Crabkin and the Dragon Turtle. I do not know the exact release date, actually. So I exist in a really weird space in time where I'm about 2 years down the track in many cases. So I think they're coming out in the next couple of months. I mean, you'd have to ask someone who's far cleverer than I am to know the exact date.
And I know a lot of the way shipping is in the world these days. Like even the people who are supposed to know may not necessarily know when things are going to land. So. Yeah. What else we have here? Animal Adventures, and you have the Dark Souls minis as well. Why don't you tell us just a little bit? Because I will say that we're going to have videos about Bardsong and the game and the minis coming out pretty soon. And we also have some Dark Souls minis at home because I may be very, very terrible at the board game. I mean, at the video game. It's not an easy game, but it is something that you'll have a full game yourself, and you also get to have the minis that you could probably use in your D&D Pathfinder games as well. Tell us a little bit about it.
So, Dark Souls is a property that we have a deep love and affection for, and we spent quite a lot of time agonizing over how best to bring it to the RPG tabletop. I have been using my Dark Souls minis in my homebrew games for a very long time. There are some brilliant characterful minis in there, both for player characters and for NPCs and enemies to fight. So we decided to use the 5e engine as an initial platform, fully reauthored and redesigned key parts of it to get that Dark Souls experience. Couldn't be happier with how it's played out. I love the sensation in our version of the engine where real death it happens, and I think it really adds a touch of excitement that isn't always present in a more traditional fantasy version. Death just doesn't seem to happen that often. It does mean that we're able to look at all the cool minis that we've put together for the board game and bring them to a different audience. And we know that people look at the Dark Souls board game minis and think, that's great, but I don't really want the board game, I kind of just want the minis. So we're looking to make sure that we're packaging them in a way that makes sense, makes it very easy for you to add them to your existing games, or indeed if you're playing in the Dark Souls universe.
Excellent. And yeah, we'll be taking a closer look at those so you see exactly how they stand up next to all of our other minis and how we can use them in our games. I know that our audience, our little goblins, just have a lot of love for you guys, and like especially the Epic Encounter series, the Animal Adventure series. Is there anything else that you want to tease that you're planning down the line, or even like maybe even get feedback from our little goblins in the audience who are mini lovers, Epic Encounter lovers, and things you want to bounce off of them?
There is a lot of things. I think I should probably talk a little bit about Rivet Wars. That's going to be coming out to Kickstarter really soon, as in next month. Rivet Wars is a fantastic game. We've worked with the original designer to re-engineer the core system, polish the whole experience out, and then create a brand new faction. So people who have that game from, I think it's about 7 or 8 years old now, will have something exciting to kind of look forward to. But I also believe that there are a load of gamers out there who actually have never heard of it, because the fantastic thing about our hobby, as you know, is the constant steady influx of amazing new people discovering the hobby that we've loved for years.
Mm-hmm. And this was a beloved game that kind of was having a little trouble surviving, and you all came in and rescued it and kind of revitalizing it, bringing it back into the world, right?
Yeah, I think I don't want us to come across as the great gaming saviors, but there's definitely, as we talked about earlier, there are pinch points that are happening in the supply chain and just in the world in general that if you're on the smaller scale, they are much harder to accommodate. So one of the things that we feel very privileged is that our position enables us to look at these kind of games, and often the motivation when Rich and I kind of look at them is, oh man, I want that game. I therefore don't want it to kind of not happen or to die and just disappear. So if we can help bring a cool game to market that we want to play, well then we're hoping that everyone else agrees with our judgment that absolutely these are games that should be in the market.
Yeah, it's like the Tom Vassell rule. If you've ever heard of the Tom Vassell rule from the Dice Tower, he was said like no great game will stay out of print for very long. Like all these great games will find a way to come back. And you guys, I think it must be really good to be in the position to be able to find these games that you have a lot of love for and be able to do something to bring them to a wider audience.
I think, yeah, and I think that's one of the things I'm proud of, that Rich and I started Steamforged because we're gamers. And we have continued to be gamers all the way throughout. And I feel that very strongly that we will always have a love of the game. And the minute we feel like we're falling out of love of the game, I think there's something seriously wrong. But the good news is that the love seems to be growing, as does the bill at the end of every convention. I'm gonna get Rich in trouble with his wife. He's up to about $1,000 so far this show. So. Yeah, you know, I'm a little bit more sensible because I only brought one suitcase. He brought an extra suitcase. So.
I brought an extra suitcase too, but we've been doing so many interviews, I haven't gotten out to get anything yet. So after this, we're going to finally go and just tour the exhibition hall and see if I can fill up this. I don't even know yet. We haven't even gotten to barely go in the hall so much, just to kind of wander and see what we can see. So we're going to see what we can find, and maybe we can talk to some maybe smaller tier companies who are just starting to kind of give them a little bit of a boost. We're going to see if we can do some of that. Do you have anything else you want to leave us as a final thought before we let you go and continue your day? I know you need to go get some lunch.
Other than, if you're at the show, swing by. If this is coming out after the show, have a look on steamforged.com. We do the very best that we can with every game, and we have a huge amount of products that we're very proud of. Any award-winning products now. That you know, I'm sure there's something that we can that we do that will be exciting. And then please tell us about it. And this is one of the things that is probably the best final thought. We love hearing from people. We can never talk with other gamers enough. This is one of the best things about coming to these shows, is just being on the booth, having people come up and just want to chat to you about games, because you get to see how happy it makes people, and you get to see how excited they are about the products that you work for months and months and months on. And that really, really is what drives us on to do more, to do better, and to really, you know, elevate the quality of what we do every time.
And I think it's safe to say that it feels like y'all have your finger on the pulse of what folks are wanting, especially with the Epic Encounters line, and just kind of had that thing where multiple use, being able to just pull it off your shelf when you need a off the moment one shot, or being able to take it for expanding your current campaigns. The Red Dragon maybe uses Storm King's Thunder or some of those lines. So you seem to have a good sense of it, and I think
that secret to that. So the secret is, I'm trying to solve a problem that I experience. Yeah. So, hey, I want, you know, take Epic Encounters. I don't like going and rifling through hundreds of different blister boxes to build, you know, a warband of forest goblins. It's difficult. I'm sure I could actually manage it, but, you know, if I can kind of go and grab a single box, that's even better. So we look at the solutions and the pinch points that we experience in our gaming, and then we think, what product could actually help and enhance that experience, or solve an issue that you may or may not be aware that you're having. That really is a good catalyst for a lot of the ideas that we have.
I'm really excited to see what you'll do in the next coming years. It sounds like you'll have a lot of really cool plans. Maybe you can't share them all today, but I know behind the scenes, like, it sounds like you have some really exciting things coming down the pike. So thank you for taking the time to talk to us today. And if you have any questions, like, leave them down below. Maybe you guys can pop into the comment section and see what people are thinking. Thank you for joining us.
And thank you for taking the time. Yeah, really, I mean, look, we have a lot of love for you guys, and it's always cool to bump into you. I think the last time was GaryCon. Yeah, so yeah, really nice to hang out, and thanks for giving us a platform to tell you about some of our stuff.
Absolutely, and stay tuned. We're going to have, like, Bard Song, Dark Souls, the Not Quite a Carrion Crawler video coming out very soon. We've got a couple of things to stay tuned for. So thank you again, Matt. Enjoy the rest of your con, and stay hydrated and healthy, and take care of that voice.
Absolutely, yes. And masks on when you're on the show floor.
Masks on.